about narcissistic abuse and to help women heal from toxic relationships. Toxic relationships, just like I showed up for years inside of my relationship and inside of my marriage, where I didn't care about anyone else. I didn't care about my wife. I didn't care about my kids. All I cared about was my image. What I cared about was myself. One of the things that happens is when you're in a toxic relationship, you start to lose who you are. So I want to share a little bit about that today. And as I do, if you have any questions about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, drop them below inside the chat and we're going to go rapid fire, just working through those pieces. But do you ever feel like a failure? Not everywhere, but sometimes just when you walk in the door. There's a version of you that shows up inside the workplace, a woman that's powerful, a woman that can actually show up, can execute, can do different things inside the workplace. She meets with executives. She works through all different pieces inside the business to be able to move mountains sometimes. And she gets respect. She gets connection. She gets people that look at her and are saying like, hey, we really appreciate what you do. You're amazing at your job. Like, we don't know what you do without you. So many different pieces that praise her. And she walks from the positive environment inside the workplace and she walks into the home and steps in, and all that positivity falls out as she steps back into the home, which is actually her prison. You see, there's a woman out there that is confident inside the workplace and confused when she walks in the door. I know this is one of the biggest things that happens inside of women inside the workplace. They find purpose and direction inside of what they do. Sometimes they jump into work and use it as a coping mechanism, use it as a way to be able to hide the trauma that's actually happening at home. This piece of being a failure is something near and dear to my heart because it's oftentimes how I feel. A piece where I'm hard on myself. Or I want to beat myself up for messing up. Or I want to beat myself up for not succeeding. I want to beat myself up for not moving farther than what I want to move. One of the things that's been up and down inside of Raw Motivations is it's a business that runs off of people helping them heal, grow, and develop. Not everybody wants to heal. So we go through different seasons where life is really good and then life is really struggling. And there's a piece inside of that when I move into that space, it becomes difficult because my mind wants to play tricks on me and be like, you're not doing a good job. You're not helping people. You're not helping them move forward. Like, you're failing. And that failure piece hits a big piece of shame. That failure piece is the same piece that keeps you showing up to work, going through the motions, doing the things that you know you need to do to survive, simply because you feel like a failure because your marriage feels like a failure. Right now, it feels like a failure because you can be the confident woman at work, but you're the confused woman that's stuck inside the chaos when you get home. Confused inside of what's happening in the relationship, of what's actually going on. There's like a mental and emotional fog that's weighing on you and slowly slowing you down in all aspects of your life, making it difficult to make decisions, making it difficult to move forward, making it difficult to actually know what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down. It's a piece of you that's living in survival mode right now. Surviving, trying to just make ends meet. Not financially, but at a place of just mentally. Like, you're trying to just be able to figure out, how do I get through each day without getting triggered, without getting traumatized, without getting to the place where I'm just completely lost and confused. And you've noticed it starting to show up in your personal life and inside your work life of just forgetting things. Of having an overwhelm when you're not even reaching burnout. Of having a confusion in a place where you're having confusion and making simple decisions that you never used to have this problem with. All of this is coming from the fact that you're in a toxic relationship. So as you're watching this tonight, I want you to drop any questions down below and I'm going to deal with them. We're going to work you through the process of how to help you actually heal and grow and develop and shift who you are. And it's not going to come from diagnosing him, and it's not going to come from knowing more about narcissism. It's going to come from you actually shifting the world that you live in by making a decision. That you're no longer going to put up with toxicity and you're starting to live through transformation. To live the life that you actually want to live, to show up empowered into the woman you actually are called to be versus who he keeps putting you into a box. So as you're watching this, go ahead and drop your questions down below. Let's see what we got. Let's work through these. What does it mean when they make jokes all the time? They're mean, but they're saying they're just jokes. So Amber, this is a way to be able to condition you to accept abuse. Right? So it's a piece that if I slap you in the face, you're like, that hurt. That's not what is supposed to happen inside of a relationship. But then I'm like, oh, I'm just joking. And it takes away a slight piece of the sting, but it also confuses you. And it confuses you with a fancy word called cognitive dissonance, which just means you're confused because you have two opposing thoughts. You're like, wait a second. He just hit me and he's saying that he loves me. So which is it? The goal inside of that is a person makes a mean and toxic joke about you and then says they're joking to reduce the sting of it, but also to get you used to the abuse. Narcissists will do this to condition you to accept more and more abuse. If I'm constantly degrading you, but I'm just calling it joking, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not that big of a deal to me. It shouldn't be that big of a deal to you. You shouldn't make it a big deal. He's training you. The more he does this over a period of time, the more you learn to accept. The more you accept, the more he can get away with, and the more he keeps ramping it up. Narcissists will do that to condition you, to control you. Great question. What other questions you guys have? Just drop them down below in the comments, just piece by piece, and we're going to work through them. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. What I do is I work with high-performing women who see and understand that, hey, I need to get out of a toxic relationship, or I need to heal and get rid of this fog, and I want to do that. I don't work with people who stay in the victim mode. I don't work with people who don't actually want to move forward inside their healing space. I work with people that they actually know and see and understand this is what they're struggling with, and they're like, I want something different. That's what I provide, a healing journey and a growth mindset to help people shift their mindset. I love your information given to people to wake us up. Joanna, thank you so much. That's the goal, is I want people to wake up. Wake up to the reality that you're in a toxic, abusive relationship. And even though you're going to run away from the word toxic and you're going to run away from the word abusive, maybe if you look at your relationship and you see you're with a person who is a liar, you'll start to realize that everything else goes downhill from there. I don't care if the guy that you're with is or is not a narcissist. It doesn't matter. What I care about is how it's affecting you. The majority of people won't focus on that. If I had you sit down and actually list out 25 things that have been done to you, 25 ways that you've been affected and impacted and how it's cost you time, attention, money, your dreams, your future, what would that list look like? How heavy would it be on your heart if you actually realized how much you've lost being associated with this toxic guy? But your mind plays tricks on you because you can show up at work, and then when you go home, you're like, that's not as bad. I can work through it so I can get back to work. You find different ways to be able to cope and sedate, to be able to hide the shame and guilt of actually being in a toxic relationship over and over and over. The reality is we have to help you break out of the trauma bond. The trauma bond is this mental and emotional addiction going back to the same guy. It's almost like a person who is drunk, but the problem is instead of you just staying away from bars, the alcohol is following you around, screaming at you, pushing you into the bathroom, yelling at you, making sure that you know that it's your mistake, it's your fault, and then hugs you. And then yells at you again. You develop a mental and emotional addiction to a toxic, manipulative, abusive guy. And as a result, it gets extremely hard to be able to leave, because in order to leave, you have to rewire your mindset. And sadly, the reality inside of this is a lot of people do not understand how to rewire their mindset. A lot of therapists, a lot of counselors, a lot of coaches do not know how to break the trauma bond. Simply put, they'll work through giving you a bunch of mantras, giving you a bunch of ideas, giving you a bunch of concepts to be able to shift it, but they won't actually give you the meat and tools to shift your mindset. When we talk about rewiring your mindset, we have to go in and help you rewire the subconscious programming of what you're believing in the moment. Many times you're believing that he can still change. You're believing that it was your fault. You're believing something deep down inside. Everybody's individual belief and story they're telling themselves is different. We have to find that and we have to shift it. Because if you believe what's currently running your world, you're going to stay stuck. That's because the trauma bond is going to be here long term until you decide to shift it. How to protect my adult kids from the narcissistic father. Thanks. So inside of that, it's multi-layered for sure. One, be able to speak truth into the kids' lives if they're open to hearing it. You can't force it, and if you try to speak truth into their lives, it'll come across sounding like you're just bitter and you're degrading him, and they'll automatically go to be able to defend him. So don't attack in one sense, but be open when they ask, what's going on? Why is this happening? Who is he? What's happening? Why is he doing this? Just be honest. The piece is he might have already preconditioned them to automatically go to his side. So as a result, it's going to be difficult for you to be able to explain your truth. Sometimes you have to show up in a way that disconnects you from the trauma and focuses just on how you live. And the kids see over a period of time that you show up as a healthy way. This is what's hard, is because sometimes you'll get moms that'll be around the kids and they're constantly triggered. Right? There's constant things that are happening. The kids are saying and doing intentionally or unintentionally because of the toxic relationship. And as a result, the mom lashes out in a negative way. She doesn't heal to be able to process everything. She doesn't deal with the emotions and feelings. So as a result, she comes out emotionally unstable. And the kids are like, yeah, I guess that's right. The biggest thing to help your kids heal is you healing. Hands down. There's more inside of your relationship with your kids that's caught, not taught. You can teach them all about not being in a toxic relationship, but if you're still in one, forget that. They're not going to believe you. They're not going to apply it. You can teach them how to emotionally regulate after you know how to emotionally regulate. You can teach them how to shift their mindset after you know how to shift their mindset. The problem is when you stay inside the toxic relationship and you try to be able to speak into them, but you haven't actually spoken into you. Out of your own healing comes your kid's redemption. Missing affection from childhood and still seek it, but not getting fulfilled. So learning and understanding that there is a gap and there is a story inside of your subconscious that has to get rewired there. And the reason why I say it like that is because if you don't shift where your validation comes from, you'll always be looking for other people to dictate your worth. And when you give someone else the tools and the pieces of your life to dictate your worth, that means they have free game. They can do whatever they want. Because you're going to bow down to anything they want you to do simply because you're like, well, you're defining my worth. You're defining my value. The validation has to come from you. It can't come from someone else, or they'll always use you. That's why if you find yourself in multiple relationships, we have to help you actually build up your confidence so you find you and you validate you, not look to someone else to validate. My goal as a coach is not to validate the people that are here just so that they're propped up on like crutches. My goal is to help you actually see and understand how you can be free, how you can actually validate yourself, how you can build up your own confidence step by step, piece by piece. If you want to know more about this, you can go to rawmotivations.com. There's a short video inside of there just explaining what I do and how to actually walk you through the healing journey here. I need help, please. I'm very confused. My ex-husband left me 3 years ago and remarried a narcissist man, then divorced him after a year. My ex is back as a friend or as a dad or as a handyman. So he's doing anything he can to get back into your life. He's not back because he loves you or cares about you. He's loved back because whatever he had no longer works. Now he's trying to either get back with you or still be able to have control inside of your world. I have Life 360 on my partner's phone and it showed him at motels, etc. But it says that Life 360 is not accurate and I'm crazy and he just cheated on me with a hooker a month ago. So yeah, no, he's still cheating on you. You need to start making plans to actually focus on your healing and growth and let him go do whatever he's going to do and you set healthy boundaries of you to heal. Here's the piece. He doesn't respect you, which is why he's cheating on you and why he's also gaslighting you. Cheated on you a month ago, there shouldn't be anything sketchy on his phone. The only reason there's stuff sketchy on his phone and he cheated on you a month ago is because he's still doing it because you stayed. You have to focus on you. If you don't focus on you, he's going to keep doing this to you forever. Done everything just to hurt me, just taking my kids to court with false accusations. I want it all now. He is back, but didn't mention anything as a marriage or love, what to do. Biggest thing inside of that is he's only trying to get back with you to manipulate and use you. Like I would set some healthy boundaries so that you're actually away from him or not interacting with him. So I'm now wondering, is Life 360 actually that inaccurate? I feel like I'm completely against it. It's not that inaccurate. I managed to convince myself that I moved on. When I saw him, I felt like I had feelings, but he was clear. He just wanted to be in my life to help me. I'm confused. That's not true. There's no narcissist that comes back into your world just to help you. Like they come back to be able to manipulate, to control. That's a piece inside of this. Like reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. It's an opportunity for you to watch a quick video of what I do and also book a free strategy session so we can sit down and actually talk through all the details here just to be able to help you heal. Inside of this, you have to understand narcissists will do anything to get away with what they wanted to do. Like I had a second phone that wasn't a second phone to use to like call and contact other people. It was a second phone to be able to have my iCloud on so I could spoof my location. Yeah, that's a thing too. Right? This is a piece inside of it that he's going to try to do whatever he can to be able to cheat on you. He might spoof his location, but he's not even trying. He's just showing up at these motels and he's telling you that you're crazy. You're not crazy. The technology works. The technology is not crazy. Life 360 works. He doesn't want to admit that he's actually still cheating on you. That's the piece. He's going to keep doing it. He's not going to stop. He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't care about you. What he cares about is getting laid, which is why he's going to keep showing up to these hotels and getting whatever he wants from these women. And gaslighting you to tell you that you don't mean anything. Do you think he's narcissistic? I made it very clear to leave me alone, and my children sent messages to him that if you're serious, that you should come back with a proper plan. And I like it. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter if he's narcissist or not, and I can't tell just in 30 seconds, okay? But inside of this, as far as like through text, but inside of this, the guy in your life, if he's shown up toxic and you're like, here, you've made it very clear to leave him alone. He's not listening to you, so therefore he doesn't care about you. You set a boundary of like, hey, I don't want to have contact, which means you are the one that actually has to break that piece. You're the one that has to say, okay, I don't want contact with him, so let me go ahead and block him. Hey, if you want to communicate about the kids, all the communication is going to go through email. All the communication is going to go through the attorney. All the communication is going to go through a third party, whatever it might be. You can't expect him to block you and leave you alone. Like, I need you to hear this loud and clear. He has not respected you the entire relationship. Why the hell do you think he's going to respect you now? He doesn't. Which is why I need you to realize it doesn't matter if he's toxic, if he's narcissist, if he's alcoholic, if he's abusive. Like, what matters is right now, look at the facts. You asked him to leave you alone. Has he done that? Doesn't sound like it. So at that point, we know he doesn't care about you. He doesn't respect you, and he's not willing to listen to your wishes and your needs. You have to work on you. You have to focus on your healing, which means you have to set up healthy boundaries. And those boundaries are for you. They're not for him, they're for you. Christine, a smear campaign is huge. Hard part inside the smear campaign is people spending way too much time trying to fight it. Versus living your life so much that everybody sees, oh, what he's saying doesn't make sense. Doesn't match up. The smear campaign only has, think of it this way, the smear campaign only has fuel to the fire the more oxygen you give it. Starve it of oxygen. Don't give it second thought. Don't give it time or space. And the people that believe the smear campaign and don't even talk to you, they were never your friends to begin with. They were just people that showed up. They were fake. They weren't actually true friends because they didn't come and talk to you, be like, hey, so-and-so said this. Like, what's going on? They weren't in your life to actually help you heal, move forward. How do you properly leave? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. It really depends on the situation or the narcissist involved. Some that are violent, we'll serve them. We'll have people like serve them like when they're out of the house, when they're gone. We'll have people that have left like different times when he's at work. They leave different times to try to make sure that they're safe. There's multiple ways to do it. The biggest thing is like you're not gonna be able to talk to him, convince him to have a good conversation, and be like, hey, I think we should do this. Like that's the thing. Sometimes people will do that and then they'll get sucked back in. You have to be really careful about that. Healing process gets messed up when the narcissist shows up, when the toxic person shows up, simply because it reactivates old wounds, and oftentimes it shifts what you're thinking about you. It's almost like re-gaslighting yourself that the relationship could work. If he took me to court and tried everything to take my children away by lying, should I give him another chance after me winning everything in courts? He was smoking weed and now he is back as a friend. I wouldn't, because then he's trying to come back as the nice guy to try to get back into your life. Maybe it could be to pull up more dirt. Maybe to be able to figure out how to get the kids again. Maybe you come back to your life so you eventually feel comfortable and then he steals the kids. I've seen that too. I wouldn't. What a person, project or smear your campaign, allow them teaching you who your friends are 100%. I'm trying as my whole family. Yeah, the smear campaign is hard when you're just your whole family. Like, if they're not willing to see it, you're going to have to step back and be like, hey, like, I'm willing to lose these relationships if they're not willing to actually invest any effort into me. It's hard. It's not easy at all. I want it as well. I'm healing and proud. Awesome. Good to hear that. Who told you need permission to leave? You don't need permission to leave. Sometimes people think they need the permission to leave just because they've been conditioned so long that they need permission. They need validation. He's always in his room, ignores me, doesn't chat with me, only when he needs me intimately. Yeah, so he's just using you and he's just like pimping you out to himself. Like that's all it is. He doesn't care about you. He just cares about you for your body so he can get what he wants. Beatrice, that's not a relationship. That's not love. That's not care. Break the trauma bond has to go into the piece of rewiring the subconscious. We have to shift the story that you're believing. The story that you're believing controls where you are, controls how you think. Yes, I'm a narcissist. The trauma bond is all based on the subconscious programming. You start to believe something. Sometimes it's simply that you can't live without him. Sometimes it's like, who will you be? Sometimes it's just the confusion and fog that leave you so stuck that it doesn't allow you to move forward. How do you deal with the loneliness after leaving a narcissist relationship, feeling empty, even though I'm keeping myself busy with routine, work, gym, and still cry almost every day? So S, I want you to reach out because the loneliness piece has to do with the trauma bond. Until the trauma bond actually gets rewired and released, like the loneliness will still overwhelm you and want to drag you back down into the pit of frustration, of despair. The trauma bond is the biggest thing that we have to shift. If we do not shift the trauma bond, he'll still live rent-free in your head. That's the piece we have to shift. Okay, so reach out, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. It's an opportunity for you to watch a quick video from me, and then you can just be able to fill out a quick form. Once you do, you get an option to be able to book a call with me or jump inside one of our challenges, but it gives you an option for us to sit down and have a strategy session so we can talk through where you're at, what's going on, and how to actually help you heal specifically. So you no longer have to just be coping with different methods, and you can actually have tools that eradicate the triggers that are currently leaving you stuck. Beatrice, you're welcome. Skinny, inside of the piece of that, I've got more of my story inside of the Real and Raw podcast, and it's called The Origin Story, my origin story. You can check out the whole piece there, but there's a lot of different pieces that kind of shifted and shaped who I was starting off. A piece of like lying to be able to have conformity inside of my family, inside of the look and act a certain way because I didn't want to get in trouble, didn't want to deal with the standards that were pushed upon me. There was emotional separation between the primary caregiver, my mom, and myself, as far as like a disconnect there. There's a bunch of different pieces where I felt like I had to conform, to look, to act, to be a certain way, even though that's not who I wanted to be, but I wasn't emotionally safe to talk through any of it. So it's a lot of pieces and tons more inside of that, but that's a brief glimpse. Christina, would love to be able to talk to you because what's happening inside of that is the Huntington's on top of all of this is just more trauma response. Oftentimes we'll find people inside of trauma bonds that have different autoimmune diseases, that have gut health, that have hair loss, that have migraines, that have multiple things that are happening physically because your body is going to have these red flags of like, hey, there's an issue here. So Christina, if that's something that is connecting with you, like let's talk, because I think a big piece, if we could just build a plan, I think you could just execute on it because you already know, but we have to get you around people that get it and understand, not some of the people that are buying into the smear campaign. So go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, and that'll just give you an option to just be able to walk forward. Weight gain too, yeah, 100%. How long do I need to take time to heal from a narcissist relationship that lasted for 18 months, was intensely damaged? He painted himself the dream. So there's not a time frame. Like I've seen people heal from the trauma bond in like 3 months. I've seen people heal from the trauma bond in like 3 years. The biggest thing is consistency and dedication of actually going deep inside the healing process. What we find is a lot of times people will start the healing process, then they'll run away from it. They'll start healing, they'll be like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to actually work through it. But when they do, all they're doing is avoiding the pain and prolonging it. That's why you have to walk through the healing process. If we don't walk people through it, oftentimes they'll want to run away. What kind of therapy helps to heal from narcissistic abuse? I am not in a good way. My child is changing and sees me as the bad parent. I feel very lonely, out of control. Bella, would love to talk to you and actually work with you inside of this. I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. And the reason why I stick with this, one, is because it allows me to say what I need to say to wake people up. Therapists are guided by different rules. And two, I have a lot more street cred as far as like knowing and understanding how a narcissist thinks, because that's who I used to be and that's how I showed up. The reason why I say this is because when we can help build you up, understanding how to have clarity, confidence, and certainty inside of your everyday decisions, that's the goal, to be able to shift. Outside of that, inside of different therapy, you've got CBT, DBT, EMDR, Splunk. Now you've got different modalities of therapy that can be helpful. What I specialize specifically is working to break the trauma bond, because I find a lot of people that are even in therapy that have awareness of abuse, but they don't know how to break the trauma bond, how to rewire the mindset so you don't feel a pull back to them or you don't feel the confusion about the guy. Just want to say that narcissists will eventually tell and show you who they are. You just got to listen, 100%. Yeah, choose yourself. Yeah, you have to choose yourself inside the healing, which is one of the hard pieces because you've been trained for such a long time to not choose yourself. He's trained you for such a long time to look to him to validation, to look to him to be able to, make sure that you soothe his needs, his feelings, his emotions. Like you have to be able to focus on you. And this is one of the hardest shifts that we have to do, but we actually put this inside of our challenges. Like we have this piece of like, hey, we need to work on helping people rewire their mindset. And first off, we have them understand about narcissism, narcissistic abuse. And then inside the challenge, it switches. Because we have to get your focus off of him. If you focus on him 24/7, you won't heal, period. Because that'll be your obsession. That'll be your addiction. That will be your trauma bond forever, will be with him. Simply put, we have to have you understand, be able to work through the triggers and disconnect so we can help you rewire the subconscious programming inside of your mind. Because your head and your heart, they're disconnected. Your heart says one thing. You love, you care about him, you want to give it another shot. Your head's like, this guy is toxic. Let me get out of this. There's a disconnect that's happening, which can put you in a place of cognitive dissonance, which is the confusion, which is the frustration, which is the fear, all of the pieces that leave you stuck. What is the healing symptoms? The heartbreak feels like death and losing the sense of enjoying anything again. It's so painful and unbelievable. Everyone, even though everyone consider me a strong person. So a lot of people will see you strong while you're dying inside. That's the part of the trauma bond that we have to help you rewire. Because if we don't shift that, then everybody's going to look at you one way and be like, yeah, they're great, but you're actually living a fake life. Because there's a piece of you that's dying inside that you don't know how to build up who you are. I talk to many women and they know exactly what they don't want. And then I ask them the other question. I'm like, what is it you actually want for you? And they're like, I don't know. We have to teach you how to have purpose in life because he's stolen that from you. He's buried a lot of your purpose, your vision, your values underneath all of his shit for such a long period of time that you're not even sure your hobbies, your likes, your desires, those are pieces we have to rediscover. Do you think there's any possibility that we can love and gain trust men after this deep sadness and grief due to the breakup? 100%. A lot of people that I work with are in positive and healthy relationships now. But the difference inside of this is actually inside your question. The goal is not having you learn how to trust other men, because that's not the real issue right now. The goal is you learning how to trust yourself, your gut, your instincts, your intuition, the red flags, you being able to trust the facts of the situation and have certainty. You see, it's not just the fact of like, can I trust other men? It's can I trust myself to have discernment to be with another guy? Can I trust myself to open up my heart again and actually have this guy be in my life? The trust has to start with you. Otherwise, it won't happen with anyone else. No contact was 18 months. Court order over. Now he's hoovering. So Christina, this is prime time that you need to reach out. Based on everything you said, this is prime time. You got the smear campaign attacking you. You got friends and family that are disowning you. You got him reaching out. This is the prime time that he's going to push even more because he knows you're going to cave. I don't want you to cave, and I don't think you will cave, and I know we can strengthen you inside of this, but I want to help you rewire the mindset so you can stand in confidence so that you're indifferent towards him. He could hoover you all day long and you just be like, okay. Because you won't care anymore. Not that you won't care about him as a human being, but you won't care for yourself to be in a toxic situation because you actually love and respect yourself. That's the piece we have to work on. Will he ever feel the loss and the damage he caused is so unfair? They have a lack of empathy, so all that pain is only for the victims to face and they're living their lives. Short answer, no. He won't feel the loss and he won't feel the damage. And that'll be a piece that he'll have to live with forever, and he won't actually understand a lot of pieces of life. The difference is you actually can. You can heal, you can grow, you can develop, you can be the person you actually want to be. He can't. He won't. 10 years in marriage, and yes, you're right, I've lost myself and I'm not validated and totally ignored. Beatrice, please reach out tonight. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. The link's inside the bio. But the goal inside of this is I want to help build a plan for you so you can actually get to the place where you're validating yourself and you're respecting yourself. Here's the thing. Beatrice, think of it this way. If you struggle with boundaries, like if you struggle putting up a boundary and having other people respect it and having you respect it, you actually struggle with self-respect. That's the piece that also helps you lose you. You start to disappear because the boundaries that are in your life, they're non-existent. That's what we have to help you build. I focus on 4 things specifically inside the healing journey and the growth mindset. First one is to be able to help people process the emotions and deal with the triggers. If we can eradicate the triggers right now that are spiraling you out, that are frustrating you, that are leaving you stuck, then all of a sudden we have a whole new foundation for you to work with where you're not constantly triggered and traumatized. The second piece inside this is breaking the trauma bond, which is working on rewiring the subconscious programming. If we switch the story you're telling yourself, it can shift your current reality and help you move to a place of indifference so you can actually move forward and knowing who you are. The third piece inside of this is establishing healthy boundaries so that you have healthy self-respect and so you can just learn the simple process of being able to say no. It's a hard one for a lot of people. Now, the fourth thing inside of this is you actually knowing who you are, establishing purpose for your vision, value of who you actually want to be. So Beatrice, reach out. We'd love to talk to you. We can schedule something even Wednesday, like talking through this piece of where you are, where you want to go, and what's in between. If we can actually script out a plan, would that not be helpful to actually see and walk through the process of how to actually heal permanently once for all? Which program of yours do you recommend for women trying to get out? All of them. I'm not going to say necessarily one is better than the other. They go up in levels of accountability. So you have like our 7-day challenge, which is kind of an overview, giving an idea, giving people awareness and just helping them wake up. You've got our Survivor to Thriver, which is a 6-week intensive. And inside of that 6-week challenge is walking people through some of the triggers and the trauma bond piece, trying to help people break free. And then you have Thriver, which is our intensive. That's a 90-day program that I run that people fill an application. We sit down and talk. We make sure it's a good fit. We script out where they're going to go, how they're going to get there. And the goal is that we partner with them. So each level has different levels of accountability, different levels of access to me. So that's kind of piece inside there. When you go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough and fill out the application, it'll actually, based on your answers, it'll kind of give you different options. So like if you have certain answers, it'll be like, hey, let's schedule a call. Let's do a quick clarity call. Let's put you inside a challenge. It'll give you some direction inside of that because we've already learned how to be able to help people move forward depending on where they're at. I'm 33 and I got married twice. I feel so ashamed of myself as I wanted to die with my first husband and never had anyone else quite like the old school. It's so hard for me to try the third time. So right now the focus is not trying the third time. Right now the focus is you actually being single and you focusing on your healing. Here's the thing. If you don't heal and you choose another relationship to try to cope, you're going to blow that one up too. Not because you're toxic, not because you're a negative person, but simply because you're taking unhealed trauma into the next relationship. Even if it's a good guy, you'll blow it up. And I've seen it happen too many times. Healing has to happen or else you carry all of your baggage into the next relationship and hurt that one. I find myself going through depression, then rage. My dad was a narcissist and everything you said is true. I have a therapist, but I still feel that I am not in the driver's seat. So collective, Kenny, like please reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Not putting your therapist down, but there's a lot of people that get into therapy that feel stalled out. I know how to work through that. I have had to work through that before inside of my own therapy, inside of my own healing. But we walk people through that when they feel like they're still not in control of their feelings, their emotions, their triggers, their trauma. I know how to be able to take that back. I've had to rewire my mindset of how I show up. I know I can help you do the same. The reason why I talk about my story on social media is not so I can get people to be like, oh, yay, my narcissist can change. I actually don't give a fuck about that. I don't care about your narcissist changing. What I care about is you guys transforming. Because if you can see, if I can rewire my mindset, it means you can actually heal. The whole goal of me being on here is an inspiration for others to actually break the trauma bonds and be free. Because if I can rewire my mindset, you can actually get through the healing process. And if you feel like you're stuck, please reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Opportunity for you to watch a quick video, fill out a quick form, and book a free strategy session for us to sit down and talk through where you're at, where you want to go. That's the piece that we need to build. How do you actually get to where you want to be? Many people know what they don't want down here, but they don't know what they want, or if they do know what they want, they don't know how to get it. They're just like, I want to move forward, but I don't know how to process. I don't know how to get it. I don't have the tools. That's what we have. That's why I focus on developing and working through tools to eradicate the trauma bond, tools to deal with the trigger, so it no longer affects and impacts you. Was married to a narcissist for 30 years. He became ill, passed away 11 months ago. I became his caregiver. He told me he was sorry for everything he did, and that he took me for granted. Oftentimes you don't get that. I don't know if it's something to do with COVID, since the amounts of divorce and breakups, even for people being together for 30 years, is very trendy now. Do you agree? What's wrong with couples? There's a lot of things wrong with couples, but the biggest thing is honesty. A guy not being honest. The narcissist was the worst person I'd ever encountered. I had to deal with a bully narcissist boss, my last job, name calling and trying to humiliate me, etc. Usually tall, younger guys get this sense of divine authority and become really rude. Yeah. How can I know if I fully healed? If you're indifferent towards him and you're able to move forward with purpose. Like, indifference is huge. And indifference is not a piece of being like, oh yeah, I'm indifferent. It's that he doesn't come into your mind. You're not thinking about him. You're not obsessed about him. You're not worried about him. You're not constantly arguing with him in your head, right? You don't hear his voice. It's not a piece that affects you anymore. Simply because you've healed and moved on, it's like, hey, that version of me no longer exists. I know who I am. I know my purpose. I know my vision. I know my values. You have clarity, confidence, certainty. That's what I teach inside of all the programs that we have, because my goal is having you get to a place where you can make decisions for yourself and you don't have to question them. My daughter's father has to be a narcissist but refuses therapy. Yeah, a lot of them will. And even if he went to therapy, he'd probably manipulate the therapist, especially if you're refusing it. Like, the piece inside this we have to have you understand is the goal is not to get him into therapy so that he magically heals, because he probably won't. And if he gets into therapy, he'll probably manipulate as well. The goal is that you heal. So you shift and grow and develop who you are. Always thought here it's impossible for a narcissist to change. It is, without honesty. Here's the news flash inside of all of this. No narcissist can change without honesty. Here's the hard one to hear. No survivor can heal without truth. You see, when you continue to gaslight yourself that it's going to change, when you continue to lie to yourself that it's going to get better and it never does, when you continue to tell yourself that it's okay, that it's not that big of a deal, and you minimize the abuse, you're lying to yourself, which means you won't heal. Truth is the center of healing, period. If you don't have truth, you don't have transformation. Narcissists cannot heal without truth, without honesty. Survivor cannot shift anything inside the world unless they're honest. I'm realizing that I think I'm a narcissist. I think I'm thinking of showing my girlfriend your channel because I'm pretty honest with her about a lot of stuff and don't want to hurt her, but really feel like I am. I want to get help, but don't know where to start. Since I hate that I'm like this and feel nothing. So Angel Boy, reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com. There's a breakthrough call drop down for men. Click on that, watch the video, fill out the application, and we can chat and see where you're at and how I can help. I've had 3 narcissistic relationships. I don't want to go into a 4th one. I need to work on codependency. What are my next steps? Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. So Ray, inside of this, like I want to have you go to there because we can actually walk you through so that you never get into another toxic relationship again. Like if you're willing to show up and put in the work, I can guarantee results simply because I've walked so many people through breaking the codependency, breaking the trauma bond, no longer being sucked back into a toxic relationship. I've seen people come to Raw Motivations that have had 7, 8, 10 relationships before. Not narcissist, covert, overt, communal, all the different pieces. And they're free. And the reason why they have freedom inside of their life is because they came to Raw Motivations. They said, I want to learn how to rewire my mindset so I no longer attract this type of guy. I'm like, okay, we can show you how to do that. Because rewiring the mindset is part of the trauma bond so that you no longer show up comfortable inside of a toxic relationship. You no longer open up to the toxic relationship thinking that's normal. No, that's not normal. But we have to rewire your mindset. Otherwise, your mind is going to automatically go to and attract different people that are going to take advantage of you. So your next step is to go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. As we wrap up tonight, I'm going to ask all of you to do that. It might just be a minute. You might resonate with it. You might not. But if you're watching this live and anything I've said today has hit your heartstrings, I want you to not just walk away from this live just being a consumer and being like, that was a good video, let's move on to the next. Stop the scroll. Like if you're watching me right now, stop fucking scrolling and wasting your life instead of taking action. Some of you have gotten into a bad habit, you're just consuming. Like I don't know exactly who needs to hear this, but I feel that someone needs to hear it. You're just consuming. But there's part of you that knows that that's not who you are. You're actually a woman that takes action. What I can offer you is a step-by-step plan to heal. How to actually move forward, how to break the trauma bond, how to get rid of the triggers, how to move to a place where you can actually rewire your mindset, be indifferent towards him, and actually live the life that you're actually called to live. You were put on this planet to be more than just simply used and abused. You were put on this planet more than to feel the incongruence of showing up to work as a powerful woman and showing up at home stuck in a prison. You go sometimes out in public and people see you and look at you and think that you're confident, and then you go home and you're codependent, you're confused, you simply feel crazy, and you're not sure what to do. My job is not to make or break your relationship. My job is not to tell you to stay with or to leave the narcissist. My job is to help you see clearly. So if you're a woman that's in a toxic relationship, or maybe you've already left and you still don't know how to heal, or you're stuck in therapy and it hasn't progressed, this message is for you. Take some time this evening. Don't scroll anymore on social media and go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. There's a link inside of this bio. There's a link inside of all our social medias for you to be able to watch a short video. It's like a 9-minute video of me talking through and explaining the healing journey, the growth mindset. I've touched on a little bit in here, but I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth, explaining some of the reasons why you might still be stuck. Some of the things you might be doing that's still attracting a toxic guy. And also a step-by-step process that you can have to heal. You fill out a quick application, you book a free strategy session, we sit down and we talk through specifically what is affecting you, what do you actually want, and how to bridge the gap in between. You might be showing up today and you know what you don't want, but you have no clue what you want for your life because you don't even know what healthy looks like. You've been trapped in it for so long, so lost, that healthy seems foreign. Peace seems awkward. Confidence seems weird. Maybe you're watching it today and where you currently are versus where you want to go. You know what you want, but you're not sure how to get there. Like there's this gap, this chasm between where you are versus where you want to go, and you don't know the steps. You don't have the tools to be able to take you higher on this climb. You don't have the support or the structure. Whatever it might be, I can help you with that. We provide a challenge, we provide a community, we provide tools, I provide coaching. There's a lot of different levels that we do. And the only thing that won't let you actually heal inside of working with Raw Motivations is if you don't show up. Because every single woman that shows up has transformation. I can walk you through people that are completely indifferent. I can walk you through people that are walking away and they're confident. They're not sucked back in. They're not traumatized. They're not dealing with it anymore. They're like, I know who I am and it's no longer with him. I know who I am and he can't bully me anymore. I know who I am and he doesn't trigger me anymore. They have indifference, but they also have healing. If you're a woman today that actually wants healing, doesn't want to just read about it, watch other people heal, but actually wants it for you, and this message is for you. I pray that you hear the heart behind this of you actually waking up to the reality that you're in. And if you've woken up, then the time is not just to stay awake, because if you stay awake and then go back asleep inside the toxic relationship, oftentimes you'll be lost permanently. But if you've woken up, this is your chance to heal fully and finally. To have the trauma bond just rip its ugly hold off of your heart and no longer affect you, so you can actually move forward in freedom. Experiencing a weird word called peace. It feels awkward because you don't know what it is, because you've been inside of this for so long and confused for so long. The mental, the emotional fog that weighs you down every night keeps you awake, keeps you confused, keeps you second guessing your decisions. I know how to make that go away. If you're willing to show up, we can show you how to rewire your mindset. Inside of this, I want to encourage you to do one thing tonight, and one thing only. Stop scrolling. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Click on the link in the bio. If you need to, you can just go to Raw Motivations. You can find a link there. rawmotivations.com/breakthrough is going to give you a video. 9-minute video. You're going to take 9 minutes out of your day, and those 9 minutes are going to change your life. Because they're going to be the first step of you raising your hand and no longer just shifting past this, but you actually taking a step for you. And inside of this, you're going to take a move. You're going to fill out a quick form once you watch the video. It resonates. You're like, hey, this is me. I want help with this. I want to learn how to rewire. I want to learn how to deal with the triggers. I don't want this trauma bond anymore. I don't want this relationship anymore. I don't want this piece inside of my mind that leaves me stuck. Watch the video, fill out the form, and book a free strategy session. I've got openings as early as Wednesday. You can book a call. We can sit down. We can talk. And what you'll walk away with, period. Whether you work with me or not, that's not the goal. What you walk away with is a plan and a path, guaranteed. You can do that with me. You can do that on your own. But I can show you a plan and a path, and we can work from there. If this resonates with you, then it's time for you to stop the scroll. And it's time for you to go. You're going to leave here and you're going to go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, watch the quick video, fill out the form, book a call. And I'll see you soon. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful evening. Y'all have a great and wonderful night. We'll see you later. Take care.